So Vandit, you have basically, helped SaaS and IoT startups in the past, and then you went on to founding Bharosa.life, right? What inspired you to take that leap or shift towards AI-driven healthcare?
A lot of personal experiences that actually happen. Once
Okay.
you have worked for startups for so many years and worked close quarters with founders, seen them hustle, you hustle with them, you've seen their entire arc as well. So there comes a point in time where you ask yourself, uh, can I also do this?
Right.
Am I ready? Is 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 it as hard as I thought it was 4 or 5 years ago? And then your stars also need to align. I mean, your
Exactly.
financial situation has to align, the team has to align, the idea needs to align, and then you ask yourself, okay, let's take this leap. So something similar happened, as well. My wife was, suffering from, gallbladder stones during her pregnancy, and which a lot of doctors were not able to diagnose. So I
Oh.
was really frustrated. And I spoke to so similar to you, Nikki, I used to run a podcast as well called Lights Camera Azadi. So I ran it for a couple of years, did 63 episodes. So one of my guests was Dr. Amit. He's based out of Oxford, one of the great doctors in neonatology, awarded by Sri Lankan government, Odisha government, etc. So he kind of became my friend. So
Nice.
when Miti, my wife, was suffering, and I called him, I said, that, um, what the hell? What the hell is happening? I mean, I'm in India. I mean, is this a common thing in UK that the diagnosis is missed by not one but five doctors?
Wow.
And then we started talking that how the Indian healthcare system is sort of, despite of its progress in the private sector, despite we are roughly close to $200 billion industry
Right.
together, uh, the patient experience uh, is still not great. The doctors are still not equipped with the right tools. Finding a doctor, like if tomorrow, if you are in Gurgaon and God forbid, Nikki, you're sick, and you ask this question, who's a good doctor? Uh, how the hell will you start? And then there are specialities as well. So the Bharosa Life was a premature or a idea where we sort of wanted to create a review and a ranking system
Oh.
and for doctors, which was independent. But it was way ahead of its time, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, it was just India is not ready for that kind of ranking where people with the grace of their heart would give a ranking to doctor independently without a doctor asking them. So
Right.
we're
Right.
kind of becoming like the glass door for Indian healthcare.
Understood.
So that didn't fly, which is fine. Then we had a good technical team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we were excited for AI. This was the time of AI. We said, okay, why? So we did something. I mean, I said to my team somewhere around last year in March, April. I told them that whatever wherever we go, I think we should definitely buy one AI domain. So we
Okay.
we bought we did bought a Bharosa.ai domain just very prematurely because we felt that we should have something like that ready. So one thing led to another. Then we kind of, so Bharosa.life was sort of backtracked, and then Bharosa.ai was introduced, and we pivoted to AI. We first created India's first voice chatbot, which can speak more than 100 languages, called
Wow.
Mira. So patients can call Mira, and patients can talk to Mira, understand their problem better, get some diagnosis. And we were also sort of learning the power of LLMs.
Right.
And initially, we were also pretty skeptical that how these LLMs may actually work in real world case scenarios. And Amit was the most skeptic because he was a doctor and
Exactly.
not a random. So he would try multiple LLMs and he would realize that LLMs were getting the diagnosis 10 out of 9 times right.
Very nice.
So you put in a symptom, you put in a report, and you ask, okay, what is the case? And LLMs would answer that question. Now the question that really became in front of us is, how do you put that power of LLM in a common man's hand
Right.
um, in a country of 1.5 billion people? Who's generally always suffering, someone or the other in the house is always suffering. I mean, my wife recently had a viral, my daughter has a viral someday or the other. Just
Exactly.
today, my mother-in-law had a full body checkup.
Oh,
So we are like a health sensitive country. So we said that look, I mean, chatbots and I mean all of that. I mean, Chat GPT can also do it. But if you really want this to reach to every corner of this country, you really need to have a voice agent which is on phone call.
definitely.
So that's what our belief was. I mean, it still is. And where we just believe that people have a health concern, people will not type it out in India. They would rather first speak to someone on phone, and then maybe as a follow up they can share their report, type it out, etc., etc.
Correct.
That's our thesis, and then we realized that we have developed such an amazing tech, uh, but it's not monetizable, honestly.
Hmm.
So how do you monetize it? So then we started scratching our heads, and then we said, okay, the same idea that we have, which is Mira for patients, can also sit in clinics and hospitals and drive efficiency there.
Nice. Nice. So
So
basically, you
that's the story. Yeah.
GTM, right? So you changed your GTM where you actually tied up with doctors and sat in the clinics, and from there, your product would take off, right?
Yeah. So we are running two parallel GTMs or two parallel products.
Hmm.
One is Mira for patients, and then other is Mira for institutions or clinics, whatever you want to call it.
Interesting.
So it's the side of the same coin. It's the same tech, but Mira for clinics is on mobile app, but Mira for patients is on phone call.
Oh, very nice.
Uh, and the clinic use case is very different. Clinic use case is more about note taking, maybe becoming a receptionist for
Right.
clinics. These kind of use cases we are trying to drive there.
Interesting. So when you are basically with the same product trying two different type of audiences with two different type of approaches, right? So how is your hiring philosophy then? Is it where you focus more on technical expertise, or you focus that my team members should be more able to adapt to something, should be focusing or driven via startup environment, they should be hustling all the time, or sales should be very primitive need of somebody which I hire inside or get inside my organization?
Yeah. So so first, I'm glad that you are doing something on hiring because as founders, we are extremely worried of the hiring market.
Right, right.
And we have our deep concerns of the talent pool as well. And we often talk about it. So if this podcast can eventually reach the right audience, which is basically students in college or people looking to hire, I have a lot of points, honestly.
Awesome.
And
This
I do feel a 30-minute conversation could be short for you. Well, up to you, but I can take this to 1 hour if you would like.
yeah,
But
definitely. Let's see how it builds up.
yeah, so let's get started. Okay. So first, foundationally, you need to understand that AI companies are not hiring,
Correct.
and there is a general hiring crunch. I mean, just yesterday, if you have seen the news, TCS has laid off 12,000. There is Intel gonna lay off, etc.
Correct.
I don't think students are fully understanding what is happening
Right.
in the hiring space. I don't think they are comprehending. Think about it, Nikki. I just told you that I have launched three products in the last 2 years.
Right.
Uh, make a guess. What is my team size?
I think with AI, and personally because I also come from tech background and I have built products recently, where the things which I used to do with three people over a period of 1 week, I got it done in less than a day with a one person team. And if I'm able to communicate the requirement correctly and the person is smart enough and understands, he gets it done in a day. And I
Yeah,
believe
so
your team
make a guess,
somewhere around three products, somewhere around five people each team, 15 people.
Nikki. Just four founders,
Oh, wow.
and two of them are part time.
Two of them are part time. Wow. So everything that you're doing today is, with the support of AI, and AI is right at the center of everything.
I mean, that would be a little disrespectful to my tech team. That it's AI is everything driving it. We think AI coding, etc., as a 0 to 1 year software engineer.
Yep.
We don't think, but the moment you talk about really going deep in tech,
Team that.
I think you need in that
Exactly.
experience. So I will not say that, but you need to understand that this is a team where it's a fully hands-on team.
Hmm.
So when I go to sales, I don't look at an intern say that मेरा appointment fix करो. I pull up a Google sheet. I go to Google Maps, I search a couple of doctors, I ring them, I can do a cold call right in front of you,
Right.
and I fix my appointment.
Got it.
So my co-founders who are tech team, if you look at their GitHub, it's all green.
Wow.
So first is you need to understand that what will it take for you to be a part of this team.
Right.
And Amit is a doctor at Oxford, so you're already. I mean, I don't want to get into the character of movie Amit too, but you're sort of already, you're in a star A plus team in a way. Uh, so first is, do you really understand that if you have to become a part of this team, what will it take?
Wow.
So that's one. So the skill will is different. I know you have a lot of will, you have a lot of passion, you'll do this, but
Right.
you also need to have the right skill set to contribute. Where you know how will you help my CTO, who's running a web app, who's running an Android app, who's running an iOS app, and then he's running an AI out the back, all completely out of his lab in his house. Uh, we can't expect. We do not have time to get interns, train them, hope they perform. We are way past that.
Got it. So
Uh,
actually, do you believe that a lot of heavy lifting today is being done by AI, and where you actually require logic, where you actually require people to, do some work which is deep tech, that is where a person comes in your case? So when
so
you say you do cold call, do you also, put in something like AI where a lot of thing with respect to prospecting, shortlisting, etc. is done by AI products, and then you get into a point where something has already matured?
I'll tell you a very nice story.
Mhm.
When I was
Done.
working with Genetics,
Okay.
and I was a very young lad, in sales, I just
Mhm.
graduated. My co-founder and CEO Rahul that time, I think we were selling in retail, and he wanted a market research out of me,
Okay.
and he wanted to say that how many Domino's pizza stores are there in the country, in Japan, in Sri Lanka, and he said, when they get back to me, and I told him I'll need a week to get back to you. He was obviously pissed, and I did get back to him in 2 days.
Okay.
Today, if I want a market research, I'll do it myself.
Obviously. Yes.
And
Yes.
with this deep research, etc., with just the right prompting, uh, it will sort of get done there. But the moment is that I will still need someone to probably tag along with me to do sales.
Right. Right. Because it's a
So
contract.
yes. Or I still need, if I get more busier, I'll still need someone to maybe fix appointments or just do sales on my behalf, and I can join them in
Yes.
important meetings, etc., etc. So that part is still remaining, at least in sales in India. But you need to understand that, let's say if I hire someone, right, I
Mm-hmm.
give them ChatGPT Pro plus whatever they
Correct.
need.
Correct.
Can they give me my desired output in the next 30 minutes?
So it's actually, then all eventually dependent on a how smartly a person can question something, and second, whether he is able to decode and say this is something which I need to verify outside in the outside world, this is something which I can take as is, right? That again comes in the bucket of smartness, right? Interesting approach.
Yeah, and also a lot of these, I think my co-founder, my and the CTO, he always says this, that it's not just ki AI de diya, ya you give AI so it's done. Even to get the best out of AI, you need very smart or sharpness. Which fancily it's called prompt engineering or whatever that is. Uh, but you really need to, and we see it daily, that the quality of prompts really define your output.
Right,
Uh,
definitely.
so if you are not able, and I have vibe coded many just to impress my CTO and my co-founder. I have vibe coded some landing pages, etc. And he has told me that, to my surprise, that I have done better job than 0 to 2 years experience guys in his team,
Definitely.
in somewhere. So the point is, even if I give you cursor, and if you, let's say, I give you paid tools, can you really solve? because you will say that, you know what, I want a landing page which looks like this, it talks about this, that, this and that. Invariably, you will have to read the code. You will
100%.
have to you will have to understand the where the bug is. You will have to really have some nuances about technology. Okay, this looks like a backend issue. This looks like some else issue, and then you will eventually hit a wall. So
Definitely.
it's not a magic's wand where you say that I want an app on fitness and it's that ready. I wish it was that
See,
simple.
even in before AI, right? What used to happen? Certain people were able to use Google in a particular way and get a better output, but other people would not get the same output because of the way they search, because of the approach in terms of the keyword which they would enter in Google, right? The same
Yeah,
thing has extended. It is just that it is in a chat format. Search was, one input and multiple output format, right? So it has always been like that. If you put in garbage, you will always get garbage out of it,
yeah.
right? So I understand one thing which you probably look at all the time is smartness, right? Now, when you look at people who are freshers versus people who are experienced professionals, right? Is there a different parameter stick or is there a different yardstick that you use, or pretty much again curiosity, bias towards action, whether the person wants to get something, then these are the things which you look at.
So this is where we are getting into a deep territory, and this is where I think we should spend the most amount of time in this podcast.
Definitely,
If you really want to get some quality output out of it.
definitely.
Uh, Look, freshers offer. I know how freshers think. I know the situation in our college. I am an output of a tier two sort of a college in India, computer science. You may not be able to guess it right now, but I mean, it was not that the best of the colleges. And we we as a group also we represent, at least we believe,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that I believe at least my co-founders represent the top 1%.
Okay.
Uh, uh, so when it comes to hiring, it we really look at a lot of basic fundamentals, and it's very unfortunate to say, forget fresher, forget if you are experienced. There are some deep problems which the Indian education system and overall the people and the students. I don't blame the system. I'm also disappointed with the students as well. कि क्या उठाना 4 साल. So yes, we I also wasted my time in my college, but I, I found, and you look at, I mean, uh, if you speak to one of the best VCs of the globe, they'll tell you something,
Hmm.
that they'll tell you that the best founders that they have invested in, they were doing something phenomenal in their teens, in their college, in their
Right.
school. They were
Right.
either the school captain, they were either the college president, they were doing Olympiads, they started a lemonade shop, they started a small business, they were maybe ace in gaming. So, I mean, this fundamental question often comes in that what is that student doing in these 4 years? I was president of a local chapter for
Hmm.
world's largest youth run organization called ISEC, and I was leading the Indore chapter. I became an elected president. I knew, because maybe coding was not my gig that time. I had no ambition to work for TCS.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, so I chose my path. But if somebody asks me that what did you do all these 4 years, I have some, if not a lot, at least some points to tell you that that's what I did. So if you're asking me for a sales guy, so let's look at two aspects, right? Let's look at a fresher. Let's look at a 0 to 2 years experience.
Correct.
If you are a fresher, Nikki, and if you come to hiring me, my first question, point blank, would be that if you want a sales job, tell me what have you done in the 4 years of college, uh, that I should be interested in you.
Hmm.
And what the answer that I'm looking for is that hopefully this guy who is passionate about meeting people, business development, has some track record of doing events, fundraising,
Being outgoing.
business development, being outgoing, business development activities.
Definitely.
Maybe he joined an NGO in his college, which is very common, and he was
Correct.
doing fundraising for that NGO.
Correct.
Uh, Probably a debate champion. I don't know. So some traits, some signals about you. And then I would like to go deep to understand whether you're bullshitting or you're making it up, or you
Right.
are actually, and I can do that. So that's one. And then obviously you get into this cultural aspects, etc. And you really want to know that is he in for just because की job चाहिए या कुछ उसको दिख रहा है. I understand that you cannot be as passionate for Bharosa or a startup at the start, which is okay. But at least यार कुछ तो research करके आओ.
Definitely. I agree with you. They have not even
Yeah.
seen your website before coming in for an interview. This is something which we see all the time.
Yeah. What entitlement is this? You did not read the JD. You didn't do this. I mean, did you try to use the product? I mean, which is literally available for free.
Correct.
Uh, so this is like very surprising in the Indian market, honestly. So we'll go to the 2 years experience as well.
Yeah, yeah,
So hold
yeah.
that thought. I'll tell you something. Let's go to San Francisco. Let's switch and let's imagine we are in California.
Right.
Let's imagine a graduate or a dropout of a UCLA wants a job in top startup. I'm not a top startup, I understand. But let's say a dropout or a graduate or about to be graduate kid from a decent university, even not UCLA, wants a job in San Francisco, in California, in Silicon Valley. You know what he'll do? He'll 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 get the shit done out of that startup. He'll know what this startup is about. He'll read about the technology. He will read. He'll go through the founder's profile. He'll probably go to the company's Crunchbase, database. Ki when was it founded? When did it happen? On top of it, he will create a presentation and email it to me and
Yes.
say, "Ki, yeah, boss, I want to whatever it takes. I want the interview here."
Correct.
So that is the disparity that this education system is offering,
I
and
agree.
that system is offering. So, and
I
I'll go more deep.
I have seen a case where somebody sent out to me saying that I have seen you do this, and
Huh.
this is something you are doing wrong. Please allow me to come in and fix it. This is the kind of
Hmm.
approach you want, right? You want people to come and challenge the founder and say, "This is something we are doing wrong. Let's fix it together," or "Let me take the lead on it." Right? Which we hardly see in anybody who's coming out of college here. I agree.
Rarely. And I'll tell you something, Nikki. This is a very root problem. We all should be asking this why.
Yeah.
So people who are looking to get hired and they are wondering कि हमारी नौकरी क्यों नहीं लग रही है, हमारी जॉब क्यों नहीं लग रही है, तो वो देखो इसलिए नहीं लग रही है क्योंकि 12th तक, until the time you were in 12th standard,
Mhm.
you were basically the top 10% of global 16-year-olds.
Right.
If you are in India, if you are in CBSE, if you are in a half decent school, and if you are above, let's say 60%,
Right.
first division CBSE in India, I would say you are in global 10%.
Yeah. Yeah.
The moment you graduate from India's college, you are in bottom 25%.
Correct.
Unless you are from IIT, and even IIT sucks. So we'll go there later.
Yeah.
Okay? So even IIT and IIT sucks. But by skill set, you are bottom 25%. Why is that? Because the university culture, the school culture is relaxed maybe there in US or anywhere in the world. We're not comparing China. China is separate. Let's forget
Very
China.
different. It's very different.
But yeah, but the university culture is extremely professional.
Yes.
I cannot emphasize how professional it is, where the professor is even speaking to a student respectfully, Mr.
Yes.
Sidwani, thank you
Yes.
for coming to my class, etc. And you really need to deliver on grades, otherwise you'll not pass. I mean, for heaven's sake, when I was graduating, I came from the Central University of India from Bhopal, RGTU, RGPV,
Hmm.
and there was this thing called Shivani.
Hmm.
Shivani is not a girl. Shivani is a question bank.
Right. Right.
So you read that question bank before every exam. So you're basically doing jack shit for the entire semester. But 7 days before the exam, you do this, and my dad would always ask me, "How are you clearing your exams?" I mean, most exams I'll not clear, honestly. I'll flunk as well. But his point was, you're still moving forward.
Right.
I said, it's a hack. It's a hack for everyone. But it's very detrimental to people in the long run. So I mean, I was lucky. I woke up and said, look, this is not going to work out. Let me get into deep into extracurricular.
Hmm.
So I stopped going to college. I was completely doing things outside colleges. But I started my college in 2009, 10. I graduated in 13. But 12 and 13, I have solid, at least stories to tell what I did outside my college.
Understood.
I was representing my city in Greece. I was going outside. I was doing seminars. I was doing business development. I was recruiting people. I was running an entire office on my own. I was running entire budgets on my own. I was leading a team of 100 people.
Hmm.
So, so I mean, so what I'm trying to tell you is that you need to be a very high agency individual if you really want a job in a high performing startup.
100%.
Now let's come to a guy who has spent hustling, bustling 2 years now, 2 to 3 years now. Is like, यार कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा. Let's try to get a job done.
Right.
Same approach, uh, same approach, and nothing essentially we are changing here. 2 years guy sitting in front of, and tech में तो मतलब I'll go there later. Tech में तो there is enough BS. So 2 years experience guy. What will eventually invariably happen is he has spent some time in the industry here and there. If he is a mediocre performer, he would probably try to bullshit his way.
Right. Right.
But by bullshitting, what I mean is, try to speak fancy language, fancy jargons, maybe dress well also in the interview, which is also a big issue. Some people don't even dress up well. But let's say dress up well, etc. But the moment you ask, you know, let's say you are selecting a guy for the Indian cricket team, the first question you'll ask is कि first class में कितने run बनाए?
Right.
Similarly, in sales, I mean, they say that you are as good as your last one. If you're a pure sales guy, my first question would be, कि भाई, what was your target? How much did you achieve? And tell me what deals you lost, what deals you won. And most people would shy away from that question. And they will go round and round in circles. I was not doing this, I was not doing.
Because they don't have something concrete. They don't have numbers right up their sleeve, right?
So if you are a 2-year-old and you are asking, but why? And again, Nikki, I'll go back to that point, which I said at the starting of the podcast. Do you understand what kind of team this is? Now, obviously, and here I'm not even talking about high standards. This is very basic and hygiene.
Exactly.
So Indian ecosystem is terribly at a space where one of my very good friends, he's an entrepreneur. He's trying to do something, Raghav, he's trying to do something in the education space where he's trying to make people more employable, etc. Trying to improve their skill set and ensuring that they sort of get a job. And he often tells me that there are, out of a batch of 100, there are only 4 or 5 who are essentially self-driven.
Actually driven, yeah. That's the right
And
number.
yeah, and I also run in Gurgaon. I also run a monthly meetup, and on meetup.com, where I often invite a lot of startup founders or people interested in startups for just a coffee networking and learning from each other. Yeah, so 25-30 people come every month. We have a good time. We go back home. A lot of young chaps come in. They're 19, 20-year-old, 21-year-old, and they ask, अच्छा हम कैसे startup कर सकते हैं या हम कैसे job लग सकती है startup में. And मैं उनको बोलता हूँ, यार, if you want to get a job in tech, show some portfolio. अब तो तुमको भगवान ने टूल लाके दे दिया है कि बस डालो और कोड हो जाएगा.
सब दे दिया.
अगर if today you are not able to forget your C++, forget your, इससे तो बाहर निकल जाओ पहले. Whatever language you want to choose, you choose a language. Hopefully, choose Python, JavaScript, and develop your fundamentals in that. But yeah, now if after these tools you're not able to launch a landing page, and what I know my CTO, what will he probably look at is that what problem did you, and I tell these kids who I meet once a month that figure out a problem in your own college, yeah.
Exactly.
यार कॉलेज कैंटीन का मेन्यू लोगों को नहीं पता होगा, उसकी कुछ ऐप बना दो. बेसिक, you don't want to monetize it, but you want to say that this is what I built.
Correct.
100 people using your app is a victory. 100 लोगों को भरोसा में AI की ऐप यूज करवाने में पसीने आ गए थे हमारे.
Agree. होता है. We have seen the same. We have seen the same.
So सो बॉस तुम कर क्या रहे हो वो 4 साल में, और तुमको रियलाइजेशन है कि ये इंडस्ट्री और तुम्हारे बीच में जो गैप बढ़ता जा रहा है वो किस लेवल का गैप है कि लोग तो अब हायर ही नहीं कर रहे। तो तुम्हें अगर हायर होना है तो तुम्हें तो कुछ यू विल हैव टू शो। अर्लियर वेर इट वुड बी कि यू टेक अ रेज्यूमे, गो एन इंटरव्यू एंड दैट्स इट, जॉब डील डन, यू डू अ हाफ डिसेंट इंटरव्यू एंड लोगों को जरूरत है। एंड आई एम सो सरप्राइज, आई लुक बैक एट माय टाइम व्हेन जेनेटिक्स या ये वो हम सभी, मैं सोचता हूँ, मैं आई आल्सो थिंक दैट इट विल, आई डोंट इवन नो कि 100 की कंपनी कब होगी मेरी। तो मैंने मतलब आई यूज्ड टू से टू माय टीम, माय को-फाउंडर्स हु वाज रिपोर्टिंग दैट, इवेंचुअली मैं टीम लीड बन गया था एटसेट्रा। सो आई सेड आई नीड पीपल, यू नो आई नीड मेंबर, आई बहुत ये है, 2-3 लोग दो मुझे, एक प्री सेल्स का दो, एक का अकाउंट एग्जीक्यूटिव दो, एक सेल्स में सपोर्ट करने के लिए दो, ये दो वो दो। आई डोंट थिंक आई विल डू दैट टुडे।
Right, right.
So
So
because what is happening, yeah,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
that's a lovely point which you said, right? What I think a lot of people today, especially founders, right, are sitting on the fence because nobody is exactly sure how quickly AI will replace what. So if I take in a lot of people in today to solve a particular problem, and tomorrow that problem is being solved in a much easier way, much different way, what happens to these people? A lot of them would not even be, in a position to transition to better roles, right? Because that is the kind of audience that we get when we hire, right? As you said, somebody told you out of 100, only 4 to 5 are driven. So I'm assuming, only those are the people who would want to do new things every day. Those are the people who would be okay that if AI has come in, let me utilize it in a smarter way, save 4 or 5 hours in a day, and then move to something better, right? A lot of people, if they do something which saves their time, would end up strolling around in the gallery area, would end up wasting their time, again showing that, the drive is missing. The drive to do something, really big is missing, right? So do you attribute this to the culture of, how institutes are run here in our country, or is it more to do also with the audience where they have gone into a setup where we have primarily been a consumption, not an economy as such, but even in terms of digital audience, right? If you look at, macro influencers, we hardly have a few. New York and LA have so big or such a huge number when it comes to influencers, right? So even in this entire generation, is it something where the number of people who want to do something is very less, or is it that the culture that we have set up for these guys is something where the culture to go get something, to do something huge, is missing?
It's a mix of both, honestly, and there is a very root societal problem as well. uh it will take another 10 minutes to for
That's
me to go. I mean,
time
yeah.
on that.
So so look, when a guy or a girl is, is in the US, they ask this very fundamental question: कॉलेज क्यों जरूरी है?
Right.
डिग्री क्यों चाहिए? तो बिकॉज कॉलेज इज ऑल्सो डेट, फर्स्ट ऑफ
Yeah,
ऑल,
yeah, definitely, definitely.
है ना? एटलीस्ट देयर, यहाँ पे तो स्टिल मैनेजेबल हो रहा है.
Ah,
So the ones who choose, they are very sure of what they are doing, why they are doing, because
right,
the trade-off is very high. You can't just fuck up. And then the institutions are professional.
right,
So you know it's ऐसा नहीं है कि लोग जुगाड़ से यहाँ पास हो रहे हैं, या the amount of uh, consumption of weed that has increased in Indian engineering colleges is unbelievable.
yeah,
And all these soft drugs and alcohol to become has become norm.
yeah,
So earlier alcohol and smoking were like exclusive, taboo, and weed and ye wo to was like super elite, like that small, and
right,
like you would also, that people would stay away from that kind of guy. It has today, this has like a culture where I don't relate, where like 50% plus ki acha, you don't drink alcohol, daru nahi peete ho, and like almost 15-20% would be, in some sort of, drugs, etc. And Nikki, where did you graduate from?
Mumbai,
Mumbai,
University
what
of
college, university?
Tamal Shani Engineering College, University of Mumbai.
Engineering.
Yeah,
And which year was this?
2009. I graduated in
Nine, right?
2009 when you started.
When it started, right? So if you remember the times when all of us, were sort of engineering, the single point agenda of doing an engineering was job.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Yes.
So what is basically happening is that you start a race, and you think of this race as you're looking at an endpoint, and you essentially think that it's a sprint में फटाफट से 4 साल कर लूंगा मेरी जॉब लग जाएगी.
Correct.
You don't realize this, that it is essentially a sort of a marathon. Also, it's not on the flat track. It's on a track which is more hilly. ये वो ups and downs है इसमें.
Correct.
और तुम्हें अप्स एंड डाउन्स करने के लिए अपने स्किल सेट को बनाना पड़ा है. तुम्हें माउंटेन भी चढ़ना है, तुम्हें स्विमिंग भी करनी है.
Correct.
तुम एंड ऑफ द डे तुम्हारी जॉब तो कुछ ना कुछ लग जाएगी. तुम या तो बैंक में चले जाओगे, या तुम ये कर लोगे, या तुम एमएस करने बाहर चले जाओगे, या तुम कुछ तो जुगाड़ करके, इफ यू आर फ्रॉम अ टियर 3-4 टाउन, यू मे गो बैक टू योर सिटी एंड यू मे डू सम धंधा देयर, एटसेट्रा. एंड दैट्स द ट्रेंड दैट वी हैव सीन. मोस्ट पीपल आर ओके विद इट. So one is the university culture is pathetic. I mean, just if you don't believe me, just pick up an IIT, random IIT, pick up IIT Bombay, and get into their hostel room after 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And my nephew and niece, they are in the first years in US universities, and they say, boss, time nahi hai. It's a 12 to 14 hour hustle that I have every day. Then I have to manage myself and the clothes, and I'm in a foreign country, etc. So the product, and that's when I realized that ये लोग US में इतना university graduates को इज्जत क्यों है? Because once you show up in that university, you do the grind, you graduate after 4 years, people have respect for you. Do you have a respect for an average engineering graduate in this country?
Average engineering के लिए तो इंडिया में कोई वैल्यू नहीं. Forget engineering, MBS के लिए वैल्यू नहीं है average engineering college से. Except for maybe top 10 colleges, I don't think इंडिया में किसी भी कंपनी की would value an MBA from any other college.
So tell me this: if I'm a startup, which is essentially looking to hire, and I have established the kind of people we are at the starting of the podcast.
Right.
Why I should look at from hiring from India? Why should I hire from India? The only reason that I have is cost.
Right. And that has been primarily even for international companies. The only reason, a lot of offshore have been set up is because of cost.
Exactly. So what we are looking at here is there is a university which is नाम की university. ऐसा नहीं है कि बिट्स में आईटी में पढ़ाई नहीं होती है, या वहाँ पे पढ़ना पड़ता है भाई क्लियर करने के लिए, but still not as rigorous. I would say it's good, but still not as rigorous. And उनके CGPA मैटर करते हैं. टॉप elite यूनिवर्सिटी पे ज्यादा कमेंट नहीं करूंगा. But the rest of the world, rest of the country, I know whether you go to IP University here or you do go to here उड़ीसा में जाओ, यहाँ जाओ, कहीं भी जाओ, more or less same. So the system is different. The people who their objective is very misaligned. They just feel that if they have a degree, they'll get a job. They don't know. They don't focus on developing a skill set. And then overall, the society has given them wrong inputs. As well.
Exactly.
So how much can you really blame an average engineering student is also, you can't really say, but I would still say that an average student is still far more aware, is far more connected, far more knows the tech, is far more. Today an average student can probably reach out to Sam Altman at OpenAI. Sam का email openly available है.
Right.
तो मेरे टाइम पे तो मैं थोड़ी नारायण मूर्ति को ईमेल लिख सकता था.
Right.
तो अच्छा, ईमेल से याद आया, they don't even know how to write emails.
I think that starts from because school में जब लेटर लिखते थे हम अपने जमाने में, उस टाइम पे भी never thought कि ये नहीं करना चाहिए. But today's generation is so mobile inspired and so tech inspired कि basic चीजें they are skipping and they suddenly believe advanced चीजों में I'll be a superstar. People don't know how to operate basic Excel. And then when they come at coding, उनका वो logical mindset develop ही नहीं हुआ है. They have never actually done things which are logic based. And suddenly जब आप coding करोगे, it will not happen कि आप AI के code को समझ भी पाओगे, right? So you will not understand, and eventually जब कोई bug आएगा, you will face more hours testing and debugging the application than actually writing it जब आप AI से use करके लिख रहे थे, right?
Exactly. So you ask a 4th-year graduate or recent graduate who है, what is the difference between CC and BCC? इतना पूछ लो बस.
अगली बार I'll definitely ask this question to somebody.
Ask this question. What is the difference between CC BCC में क्या difference है? तू CC करेगा तेरे बॉस को कि VCC करेगा? तो वो उसकी फट जाएगी, मैं बता रहा हूँ आपको.
I'll
So
definitely try this one then. It's a great way to test people, to understand whether basics भी पता है कि नहीं. Very nice. Great thought.
so I'm telling you, and then uh, the amount of bullshit that they write on LinkedIn and their CVs. MI leader, AI leader, JavaScript, ye wo. It is absolutely so. They'll languages Python, React, R, C++, ye wo. Sab they'll, so it's just absolutely ridiculously funny. Okay? And what has also happened is that the tech salaries have sort of boomed in the
Yeah.
last 10-15 years. You have seen, right? Like,
Yeah.
for 40-50 ka package for 2-3 year old, and if you're decent in tech, it's not a big deal.
Regular. Yeah.
Now, the what is that? That yes, that 40-50 lakh package is a reality. It's not like it's not a reality, but again, top 1% is getting that package.
Correct.
है ना? So, but the rest 70 middle जो तुम्हारा middle layer है, वो क्या कर रहा है? वो उसको उसको ये लग रहा है कि यार मैं वो ही बोलता हूँ जो ये लोग बोल रहे हैं. ये बोल रहे हैं मैं ML इंजीनियर हूँ, तो मैं भी बोलता हूँ कि मुझे मशीन लर्निंग आती है. So, बट सब्सटेंस तो है नहीं. तो ये भी होता है कि when you look at the jobs and when you see people who are applying for jobs, you essentially see that they will write anything and everything in their CV.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I remember making my CV and थोड़ा सा उसमें थोड़ा सा एक छोटा सा मतलब ये बोलूंगा exaggeration मैंने करा था, तो I was very cautious about it.
I agree. You should be able to justify it when you're talking to somebody. It's very important. You should be able to justify it. Because again, as I said, right, because what is happening is just because class में there are 10 people, 2 people know something, other people feel कि यार मुझे भी आना चाहिए for me to stand out in an interview. तो फिर वही चीजें they adapt, put it in their resume. मुझे तो I'll tell you something. The simplest test which I generally look for. I look at the point के how easily a person is able to explain me something जो उन्होंने अपने CV पे लिखा है. The simpler you are able to explain, उतना deep आपने काम किया है. जितना आप superficial, जितना jargon में बातें करोगे, उतना logical है कि आपने सिर्फ सुना है, right? If you are able to simply put it, यार एक simple सा flowchart है दिखा दिया मैंने, this is the output. तो वहां से समझ आ जाता है कि यार this person actually knows his way around, actually knows कि इसमें मैंने जो लिखा है whether it is logical or not. This is my simple test. It might be आपका ऐसा कोई simple test है, if you can let me know.
नहीं, definitely यार, मतलब I think I hate word salad. I hate jargons. We have been talking to 40 in the past 45 minutes. Did you hear one jargon from me?
Not at all.
And it's a fantastic platform to jargon, right?
Exactly.
Podcast पे तो मतलब
Right.
and आप तो कुछ बोलोगे भी नहीं अगर मैं if I pull down a few words here and there, you're interviewing me. So yeah, boss, when you are asking for a job, how you basically think that any random words that you throw of English in front of me, uh, I'll just buy it. I just quickly want to know how honest you are and how quickly you come to the point. As simple as that.
Correct. Interesting.
So yeah, that's there. And I'll tell you one more thing in tech. People need to realize that there is a huge market correction that's happening.
Yeah, definitely.
So people who were at 25, 30 LPA in India are ready to join at 18, 16, 19.
I've seen that.
The tech bubble which was there, which I think a couple of things happened in the world which people don't realize this, but there was a boom post COVID, which is like कि भाई सब घर में बैठ रहे हैं तो घर वाले startups चल रहे हैं कि tech companies और ये वो all of that. It finally settled. The US Federal Reserve changed its interest rates.
Right.
A lot of money was pulled back. I can tell you this, that VCs are not putting in money in startups so easily. A
Yes.
startup like us has struggled to raise in the past. We have faced like tens and 20s rejections. And I can tell you this, 3 years ago, forget the product. Yeah, if I had set up a team and I set up the idea, I would have gotten some money. Today, I have forget the team and the idea. The idea we have shipped not MVP, we have shipped V1, V2, and not one V2, we have shipped 3 products. We have not got funding.
Right. I understand. 2021 was a different ball game altogether. It was like if you have something on paper, something decent, the people on the resume are okay. It was a very different place.
So people really need to ask this question who are potential employers that number one, why will I mean I'm not Zepto and Zepto is only one. तो Zepto
Correct.
दे रहा है तुमको जो पैकेज दे रहा है वो मैं तो नहीं दे सकता और बाकी 100 स्टार्टअप भी नहीं दे सकते तुमको.
Correct.
So you really need to ask कि अगर मेरा Zepto में नौकरी नहीं लग रही हो Zepto लगा रहा है आईआईटी वालों को और बिट्स वालों को तो तुम्हारा क्या होने वाला है.
Correct.
तो तुमको घूम फिर के ये ऐसे ही हमारे जैसे स्टार्टअप में आना पड़ेगा. बट व्हेन यू कम टू दिस स्टार्टअप्स यू नीड टू आस्क दिस very important question is, does this startup have the money to pay? Even if they have the money to pay, earlier, if I have to work hard this much to get funding, then you also need to work this hard to get that package.
Justify. Yeah.
As simple as simple as that. अगर मेरे को कैपिटल फ्री में अवेलेबल था तो तेरे को भी शायद वो उस इजीली मिल जाता. But today that capital allocation has, and even VCs are not getting as much as money. And I was speaking to a VC based out of Mumbai, just having a common chat, and he mentioned this to me that you know what, LPs who are the investors in VCs, they are not easily giving in money as much as they would.
Correct.
How are LPs making money? LPs are making money by the profits that their family businesses are making.
Correct.
Are family businesses making as much as, are they having great quarters? Yes and no, maybe.
Correct.
Or maybe a lot of wait and watch. So you really need to look at the whole cycle कि country का economy कैसे जा रहा है. So sure, your GDP growth rate etc. is there, but you know in the finer details, you really need to think that is this a economy where there is a capital crunch, or is this an economy where there is a capital which is more allocated? So I know for a fresher इतना समझना बहुत difficult है, but probably that's why we are having this conversation, right?
Right. Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. I think. Do you think ऐसा there are one or two red flags where if I see something like this in a fresher or an experienced candidate for that matter, this is it. This is end of conversation. I don't think he should be a valid or a fit for my company.
So we are. I mean, every department. I mean, tech has ways to identify red flags.
Yes.
I'll not comment on that. I have my personal way of hiring is very simple. I mean, I've been shocked by how casually people have come up in an interview. यार फोन से आ रहे हैं यार, व्हाट्सएप कॉल लगा बना रखा है इंटरव्यू को. तो मतलब एंड आई हैव टू एक्सप्लेन टू देम कि भाई लैपटॉप मतलब इट्स बेसिकली लाइक कि हाँ किसी दोस्त का कॉल आया जरा अटेंड करके आए.
Understood.
And you would not put in an effort to I mean, so I'll tell you something very basic. We had to do this podcast just for this podcast. An hour before I went, I got my beard done, I got the shave done, I chose my basic stuff. Yeah, basic stuff.
Very basic. Yeah.
ये रेड फ्लैग क्या है, पूरे लाल पुते हुए हो तुम तो. So I'm saying that yeah, I mean this is, मैं बोल रहा हूँ इंडिया में हायर करना तो बेसिक्स ही लोग कर देते तो लगता है अच्छा कैंडिडेट है.
राइट आई एग्री. राइट. सो आपका पूल ही ऐसा हो गया है कि बीइंग बेसिक स्टैंड्स आउट. पहले ऐसा होता था मतलब एवरीबॉडी वाज बेसिक, उसपे समबडी यूज्ड टू स्टैंड आउट बाय डूइंग समथिंग वेरी यूनिक. आज आपका पूल ही ऐसा हो गया है बीइंग बेसिक स्टैंडिंग आउट वैसा हो गया. वाओ.
And another thing is that job is, I don't know how do I exactly put it, but being an influencer is more aspirational than maybe getting a job.
ये हो गया है. Yes.
Yeah. So earlier would be like, you know what, I'm sure there are the majority of colleges that we have a huge population. They still want to work in TCS and Infosys and similar companies of the world. They still aspire to do that. But these are also the people who come from a very kind of a situation where उनको करना ही है.
Right.
But if you ask this question that an average middle class kid who is born, I was born in 1992 and I'm like 33. So somebody born between 2005 and 2010 who is roughly would be 16-year-old in the next few years or 17 years old right now. What really are they aspiring to be? They would, उसके लिए job is like कि क्योंकि आपकी फैमिली ने भी एक मिडिल क्लास थ्रेशोल्ड को क्रॉस कर दिया है.
Right.
So your family income, I'm assuming, would be at least upward of 50,000
Right.
and lower of 1 lakh rupees somewhere.
Hmm.
तो आप भूखे तो नहीं मर रहे हो.
Right. Right.
तो आप you have more avenues to fuck around and screw your career than people probably
Right.
our time.
Right.
तो आप बोलोगे कि ठीक है नहीं करता हूँ या कैजुअली ले लेता हूँ. एंड जॉब इज लाइक गुड टू हैव, नॉट लाइक अ मस्ट हैव.
Must have, because पेरेंट्स ने सेटअप करके दे दिया, कुछ कुछ बेस सेटअप हो
तो
गया है.
तो कुछ तो है वो, मतलब ऐसा. I'll tell you something. I come from a well-to-do family. We were when I was growing up, we were upper middle class of sorts. We were better than our peers. We had a four-wheeler in '97, which is a 800, etc. By the time when I was graduating, I had a car for myself when I was going back to college. So my dad had a car, I had a car. Very privileged. But the pressure to get a job was something.
Right.
Despite of that privilege, despite of everything. And it was like, and I'll tell you what, this is a very famous incident in my friend's circle. It was 2013, and a very local IT company came for a job. It was not very aspirational from Indore. It came in and it said something that we are also hiring IT guys, but we are also hiring business guys as well. So just stay back. People stayed back. My friends took my car. They went to see a movie. I stayed back.
Wow.
I got in for business development role. The salary was 8,000 rupees. But that was such a big deal in my peer group, in my society, in my family. My dad threw a party that night. The bill of that party was more than my monthly salary.
Wow.
So that was like the time. So the point that I'm trying to make is that was a very different time. And I am also not trying to be like an uncle and say कि हमारा ज़माना बड़ा अलग था. No, but there is a drastic cultural shift that has happened. I don't think अभी किसी की नौकरी लग जाती तो घर में कोई पार्टी थ्रो कर रहा है.
I think mindset has changed a lot. Mindset बहुत change हो गया है. And as you said, right, people are feeling ठीक है, ये नहीं मिला है, it's okay. ये भी नहीं मिला है, it's okay. Let's कुछ कर लेंगे. People don't realize there might be a time आपको 5 साल बाद जाके शौक लगेगा. Right? And maybe you would not have absorbers at that time. It कुछ भी हो सकता है, because eventually it is life. It is very unpredictable. So I think वो एक mindset and cultural gap तो definitely, as you said, आ गया है, right? Hey, I'll think. What is that one advice that you would want to give to freshers and early professionals, roughly 2 years, 3 years into their careers, right? One mindset kind of an advice and one approach kind of an advice.
I'll tell you something. The first 5 years of your career will, in most likely, I'm not 100% sure, but most likely will define the next 50 years of your life. And I had no idea that when I entered sales, and by the time I would be 5 years experienced, no other domain would be just wanted to have me. It became so difficult. And then you're like, the only option is move out of the country, do an MBA probably. And that was literally your option. How many people can actually do an MBA?
Right.
Yeah. So, and I remember, and forget about sales. Sales, B2B sales in IoT basically became my tag. So I remember very vividly when I was interviewing in 2021 for a job change. I was interviewing a lot of sales, and I believe I had a stellar track record for at least those 5 years. And I was getting rejected by, you know what, that you have experienced a 6 months, 9 month sales cycle. Our sales cycle is 40 days. So it's like, अच्छा, तो क्या problem है? मतलब तो तुम नहीं कर पाओगे. Okay, and I wanted to get into SaaS. SaaS had a relatively faster sales cycle, more velocity, all of that. So, I mean, I'm very grateful to Anshul, who's the co-founder of Viziki, who gave me that opportunity to get into SaaS and do a shorter sales cycle and all of that. But even that became so tough. And then after Viziki and before Bharosa, there was a duration where I said that I'm done with sales because the pressure was like, it was just too much. It got me. I was just not very happy as an individual. And I said that what else can I do? You have completely screwed up the idea of to get into tech. Rightly so, by your own doing.
That to
Yeah,
way
by
back.
your own make. Way back, you chose to do in your college, in your third year, you said that I'll do events and what now. Uska, so, so, uh, and then I wanted to get into said कि चलो product करते हैं. Economic situation also changed. Today, no one's hiring product managers, by the way. That's a separate thing. But even if they're hiring a product manager, it was very difficult to convince case how you get a sales rep to do a product.
I agree.
So, so do you realize? And my journey to do sales started in my third year of college when I was selling forms door to door in outside college campuses for people and convincing students to join my organization, which I was part of.
Understood.
So, do you realize this that the actions that you're taking has consequential decisions? I mean, uske consequences. They are like it's like you drop a ripple in the ocean or in a pond, and then you see that ripple effect.
Spread across the entire career wala point, right? So if you do something today, choose something today, it's actually butterfly effect, and you will live with it throughout the career which you go ahead with. Interesting.
So so I mean, my co-founders, etc. वो third fourth year में they were doing projects in coding.
Correct.
ऐसा ऐसा नहीं है कि वो forms बेच रहे थे मेरे जैसे. So you can trace it back. I mean, Amit, who's the medical side of my co-founder, when you go back and you'll trace it, his line, he was basically a college man nerd about he was nerding out entire biology and MBBS and diagnosis and patients and human autonomy. So that's why he became like the great doctor that he is.
So ये वही हो गया ना, child is a father of a man, right? So it exactly holds true. Your college is the father of basically your entire career.
अगर तुम एंड मैं कई बार कुछ लोगों ने मेरे कुछ देयर वर सम पीयर ग्रुप्स not as smart, but for virtue of something they got into product management. So sales is not a great, pay.
Right.
उसमें say salaries are not that high. It's there. Tech is obviously on the top, and the product is like the middle. So they did great. When I was trying to get into product, I was like making PRDs, and I can't tell you what all things I did. It's not even funny, Nikki. I went to a conference in London, which was a product conference, and that was conference for 2 days. And I wrote to the CEO of that product con, and I said that it's a great conference. Uska ticket 70,000 rupees ka tha. Even though I was a working professional, I said this is too much. Can you sponsor my conference ticket? So he said, yeah, sure, come in. तो जैसे उसका कॉन्फ्रेंस का आया मैंने बोला यार इट्स अ ग्रेट अपॉर्चुनिटी एंड and I'll go there. I'll see if somebody would like to hire me even remotely or in UK, whatever. And when I just have to take care of my flight tickets and maybe stay away, देख लेंगे कैसे करना है कुछ जुगाड़ करके हो जाएगा कर लेंगे. एक इतना रिस्क लिया लाइफ में एक रिस्क और ले लेते हैं. Thankfully, I met Amit also there again. So वो भी भरोसा थोड़ा सा वहां से शुरू हो गया था. मतलब अमित को मैं जानता था, but I met him. So some conversation started there. Uh, but I'm trying to tell you, do you realize the kind of lengths I had to go to shift from sales to product? And यहाँ पे तो I had some money and all of that, तो थोड़ा privilege भी था, ये भी था, तो I could dream of doing these kind of
Right.
adventures. So you have no idea that तुमने जो choose करा है, तुम जो कर रहे हो, my friend, the same guy that I told you, right, जो picture देख के चला गया था, he's doing well in his career, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. But I'll tell you something. He chose to engineering खत्म हुई. He said, I don't want to do tech job. I don't want to do anything. He went to do PO, which is bank की तैयारी. So he did that. He got into a government bank. उसका ripple effect शुरू हो गया. उसका he's doing good. He's doing good. He's a family of two, बढ़िया है, government job है, etc. In one of the PUCs he is working. He recently moved to Delhi after transfer हो गया उसका. And I said, मेरा birthday अभी जून में तू घर आ जा. तो बोला नहीं आ सकता. बोला क्यों नहीं आ सकता. What's happening? बोला काम बहुत है. तो बोला और मैं सेटअप कर रहा हूँ, ये भी कर रहा हूँ, थोड़ा सेटअप कर रहा था वो घर. ठीक है, फाइन, नो प्रॉब्लम. 29th was my birthday. But he said next Saturday I'll be there for sure. ठीक है, come home. So 7th आई, 6th 7th आई, Saturday आया. I said क्या सीन है, are you coming? आ रहे तू? बोला मैं तो बैठा हूँ ऑफिस में, और जैसे मेरे सीनियर्स जाते हैं मैं तभी आ पाऊंगा। ठीक है, तो तेरे सीनियर जब जा रहे हैं सैटरडे के दिन, तू वेट कर एंड लेट मी नो। एंड वो 8:30 बज गए। फिर मैसेज आया कि अभी तो नहीं आ पाऊंगा भाई, अभी केक कटिंग हुई है, किसी का बर्थडे था, और ऐसे बीच में जाना अच्छा नहीं लगता है।
फूड लगता है।
तो मेरा स्टार्टअप माइंड तो कॉम्प्रिहेंड ही नहीं कर पाया पहली बात तो, कि चलो सैटरडे में, तो सैटरडे हम भी काम करते हैं बट इतनी ऑफिस में बैठे। दूसरा, तुम बोल भी नहीं पा रहे हो कि भाई मेरे को जाना है फॉर लाइक पर्सनल रीजन। और तीसरा, मैंने उसको कैजुअली पूछा कि डू यू हैव अ स्कोप आउटसाइड ऑफ दिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। बोला नहीं, अब यही है लाइफ टाइम जो है।
आई
तो
एग्री।
जा बोला मे भी कोई प्राइवेट बैंक में कुछ हो गया तो हो गया, बट अब यही है जो है।
करेक्ट करेक्ट, अप्रोच बहुत डिफरेंट है गवर्नमेंट बैंक्स का एंड प्राइवेट बैंक्स का. The reason I know is my mom dad both state banks से हैं, so 40 years they have been to bank. So I
या
understand. एक तो गवर्नमेंट जॉब उनको इतना, आई थिंक 40 years in a singular organization, it's a thing जो बहुत ही मेरे लिए तो I cannot comprehend as you said, right? But ठीक है,
या
I
विच इज ऑल्सो फाइन, विच इज ऑल्सो फाइन। 40 साल तुम्हें देने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को, या 30 years तुम्हें देने, यू दो, बट यू नो अब, एंड यू गेट पर्क्स एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट, एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट इज देयर, बट यू नो व्हाट आई मीन, the kind of bureaucracy you're dealing with, I mean, people holding your life,
right.
and you know, लेकिन वो बोला मैं सुबह 9 बजे आता हूँ, रात को 9 बजे आता हूँ मैं। मैंने बोला काम है इतना,
नहीं,
कुछ प्रोडक्टिविटी हो रही हो तो ठीक है, समझ आ रहा है। बोलो नहीं, वो लोग सर जब जाएंगे तभी हम जाएंगे, तो ठीक है भाई, व्हाट कैन आई डू। सो सो आई एम सेइंग दैट another advice is that you may have fancy ideas. What you should do is you should speak to three set of people. You know, let's say you're a fresher. Uh, Speak to someone who is just immediately 2 or 3 years ahead of you.
correct,
Just
correct. You
immediately.
started in that domain.
Someone which is more difficult to catch on, but शायद मिल जाएगा तुमको, कोई approachable होगा तो LinkedIn के through, that somebody who's 5 6 years who has made a mark in that zone. And then maybe if you are lucky, if you can make and catch hold of someone who spent literally a decade,
Correct,
uh, and try to speak to them, and try to draw perspective that growth, paisa, all of that is okay, but what is their day-to-day life like?
correct.
So if you do that, if even for me it's relevant, right? Like it's always helpful to speak to a founder who has just done fundraising.
Definitely, definitely.
Uh, so ये भी थोड़ा सा एक advice I would give to people.
Wow. I think Vandit, one thing which I have really loved about this talk is कि जो एडवाइस है ना वो टू द पॉइंट रहा है फॉर समबडी हु इज कंज्यूमिंग. एंड सेकंड जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज रही है ना, यू हैव नॉट हेल्ड बैक टू से द ट्रुथ. अ लॉट ऑफ अस ऑलवेज न्यू इट. हम सबको पता है यूनिवर्सिटीज में क्या होता है, कैसे होता है, राइट. अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स वी बिकम अ बिट डिप्लोमेटिक. वी आल्सो अंडरस्टैंड, हम भी कहीं ना कहीं मे बी 15 साल पहले वी वर आल्सो इन द सेम यूनिवर्सिटीज. ठीक है, मे बी द कल्चर वाज डिफरेंट, द अप्रोच वाज डिफरेंट. एज यू सेड, राइट, उस टाइम पे नॉट ऑल ऑफ अस हैड that backing saying के नहीं किया जॉब तो it's okay. We all came with a mindset, क्योंकि क्या होता है ना, when you are in a group of 20 people, maybe 2 of them would be privileged, 18 would still come with a mindset कि यार कुछ तो करना ही है. And because of that mindset, what would happen is the other two would also get dragged into the same mindset, right? जैसे there was a time सबको engineering करना था, सबको डॉक्टर बनना था, कुछ और करना ही नहीं था, right? That was also कि लोग आर्टिस्ट उस टाइम भी होंगे. There were people उस टाइम भी जो मूवीज बनाने का शौक रखते होंगे, बट बिकॉज वो हर्ड में आप घुस जाते हो तो इट बिकम्स डिफिकल्ट टू लीव दैट एंटायर ग्रुप. तो अगेन एज आई सेड, अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स आई सी दैट people are a bit more diplomatic, I would say a bit more giving that additional benefit to the people. But I agree, a lot of times even people we see who come in for an interview, I interviewed somebody 3 days back and मैंने उनको 4 दिन पहले बताया था कि ये डेट होगा, ये टाइम होगा. he came in टाइम पे तो आए थे, बट he didn't see my website. उन्होंने हमारा लिंक्डइन प्रोफाइल भी नहीं देखा था, हम क्या करते हैं नहीं पता था, जिस रोल के लिए आए थे उनको आइडिया ही नहीं था हम उसमें राइट नाउ क्या करते हैं. सो आई थिंक ये थोड़े एस्पेक्ट्स है, एज यू सेड, राइट. इफ पीपल think on these lines, if I am going to interview for an organization and if I actually show value and say कि यार I genuinely have cared, forget what you have induced out of the information, I genuinely show that I have cared to look at what you are doing, to understand आप क्यों करना चाहते हो, and then why I should be a part of it. I think a lot of founders would like it, and they would be more than happy to bridge that, help them bridge that gap. Even if आप technically थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे होंगे, तो I think it should not be a challenge as long as I show कि यार मुझे grit है. I remember cracking interviews saying कि यार आप मुझे 2 महीने का मौका दे दो, आपके organization में I'll be one of the finest. And found it, right? Saying कि ठीक है try तो करते हैं. He's saying 2 महीने का time दो. I should be open to giving that 2 months, and अगर उसमें genuinely if he proves, so I am getting somebody who is dedicated, open, trying to prove himself. These are the things people look at, right? So I think it was a fantastic conversation. The first thing which I would do when I land in Delhi next time is ping you saying that I am here. अगर आपका वो meetup है तो you want to join.
Done. Anytime.
Right. Chalo, thank you so much for your time, Vandit.